доктор, мне доктор, что я там мороженое не ела.
Это в сериале уже показывают.
얼음에가 4호선 지중해기 고속버스 주변 소식이 심하게 이르다. 50% solgun 2%dan suyuqdi. Шинжаңын утқырлығын зоқан питалды 50% бүгін католик. Бомба гисэн роман. Таң нотын дорна зүгті илэрмүү гисэн өчгті шөчөг. Миний алта гисэн сүлжана жөчөг берген өн хонар
Kızın Астане pilot nusxada to'lg'anch tanlab andisiz mol setib olalaysiz. Шинжаң радио телевизия станциясының даңлық риясатчылары бевосita ko'rsatib, Шинжаңның оlaylı
Шағатсыну десем артық айтқандық болмас. Мен кезінде мектеп қабырғасында жүргенде сенмен ұқсас келеңсіз кешірмеген кез болған оқушыны көргенмін. Ол досының сабақ кестесін жасап жүрген.
本語のしりとりをやって負けたから。2番、早口言葉対決で負けたから。3番。
实际上就是我们现在的这个真的是。
条件艰苦、困难大、矛盾多的地方，越能提炼人。干部要深入基层，深入实际，深入群众，在改革发展的主战场维护。
车到庞大完整的空军体系。东北老航校在战火中淬炼出的团结奋斗、艰苦创业、勇于献身、开拓新路的精神，跨越近80载光阴，依然在这片蓝天中回响。老航校政委、空军首任副政委兼机械工程部部长王弼之女王丽丽。互联网系统在办公室就如监测为测离的现象。原空气温度、湿度、级数养分、授粉期等了如指掌。战俘高傲民还是机械能手，拖拉机、铲车操作熟练，每年还会做种植数据的对比分析。
现在都是机械，包括除草，有的时候它连那个插机都进不去，得用那个履带式。今年刚把那个滴灌那个给换了一套，而且可能下一步有更好的滴灌，有微喷啊什么的，都是不断更新换代。
他管果园里的机械。
Вечером тоже было интересно. Например, существует обычай подшучивать над новобрачными. Ведь большинство гостей — это неженатые парни и незамужние девушки. Вот они и старались вовсю. И розыгрыши устраивали, и каверзные вопросы задавали. Могли и острую шуточку отпустить. Потом просили жениха и невесту спеть или станцевать. В общем, все хотели, чтобы молодые запомнили этот день на всю жизнь.
看赛道这个驱动力的明显，但是当然这种如果是食物是参赛在两个牙之间，也要注意，因为如果清理的不
远向欧美、东南亚等20多个国家和地区。
现在不仅我们要通过电商渠道，并且我们甚至可以走外贸渠道嘛。我们全国市场要做，我们要全世界的市场也要做。今年7月底吧。
To get their vaccinations 2021, that's when the National Health Commission proposed creating a bigger campaign about this, and then in that year they rolled out some pilot city programs.
Yeah, that's the first batch of the 15 pilot cities or districts that's officially launching their program for cervical cancer prevention and control. Then some provinces and cities all started to roll out policies, like I mentioned earlier, to provide free HPV vaccinations for girls of just appropriate age.
Okay, then jump forward a couple of years later. What happened after that?
That's around in January 2023, right? The National Health Commission and 9 other departments, they jointly issued an action plan for speeding up the review and approval of domestic HPV vaccines at the national level this time, while encouraging qualified regions at the local level to carry out vaccination pilots and just explore multiple channels to support the vaccination for girls in just under-resourced areas. And coming to this September, here we come, the city of Beijing, who fully launched the free HPV vaccination program for 7th grade girls enrolling in 2025, and that's using domestically produced 2-valent HPV vaccines that protects these girls from the 2 most dangerous variants. I think it's HPV 16 and 18 that can most easily cause cervical cancer if left untreated.
Yes, I mean, this is just such a wonderful development health program in the country, isn't it?
Yes, I think the first time I've heard about the idea, the concept of having vaccination for HPV diseases, related diseases, was in around 2016. I think at that time, the country started to have different pilot initiatives and different...
Those were internationally created vaccines,
right? Of course, but it was already accessible in certain parts, and it's already in the topic. But back then, I was partially just graduated from college, and the way to understand it, to understand the concept, understand the vaccination, were various among my classmates and also in the society. Some people would say, well, young girls do not need this. It's for sexually active women. It's for relatively older women. You do not find this disease in young girls. And that was not the major concept or idea about it, but definitely it was a relatively stronger voice.
So the vaccinations were available at that time about 10 years ago, but the education on the topic wasn't that strong 10 years ago.
Exactly my point. And later on, you see more and more people not only working in the field of doing research and developing better vaccination shots, but also doing very proactively education work in different places, in different schools. You see primary, middle school having different education sessions, teaching people about how to protect their health. And nowadays, when we see this free vaccination plan being included in the country's health plan, the overall health plan, we do not hear the voices about, that's so... the girls we're talking about are so young, they do not need this vaccination. The stigma is already, I think, almost completely get out of the disease as well as the action of getting the vaccination.
The vaccinations, the foreign vaccinations that were available 10 years ago, one was from a UK pharmaceutical company that was approved for use in China in July of 2016. That was a 2-valent vaccine.
ندیدیم گراب خان سلامت خدا علیکم خوب شد که آمدی 1 ساعت میشه که اون برنامه را میپالم مگم هیچ نیافتم
کدام برنامه؟
اون روز که در خانه شما میمان بودم و تو رادیو را در بیخ گوشت گرفته بودی و میشنیدی
اوه یادم آمد
اموره که مردم و دکترها در مورد نشانه و مشکلات و جلوگیری از بیماری ها گپ میزدن
صحیح فهمیدم برنامه صحت و زندگی را میگی امروز که یکشنبه نیست خوب روزای یکشنبه نشر میشه
어덜트 컨템포러리라고 표현을 하지만 라떼는 말이죠 이거 성인
And we're already like 24, 25-ish, but still as early as possible, the earlier the better. So under their influence, I kind of took up the courage. You know how it feels when you're all alone in a different land, and then all of a sudden you're suggested to get a vaccine locally. I spent around 400 pounds. I think that roughly equals 3,600 yuan. Just within, and got it quite easily in the pharmacy there in London, and it's quite common for the medical staff there to receive Chinese students coming into their pharmacy and say, oh, I kind of want to get the 3 boost, and we just scheduled my 3 different shots, scheduled a date for me.
At the pharmacy
itself? At the pharmacy. There were no hospital visit at all required in the UK, but here in China back in 2018, you kind of have to book it and pay for it yourself, and that's just how big of a leap of faith we've got within the past few years.
But then following those foreign vaccines came the domestic one.
界的每个角落，感受彼此间的默契。
In 2019, one in 2022 that were widely used, and they have proven to be successful.
Right.
With girls as young as 9 to.
Zoologici botaniști au fost trimiși în pădurea deasă de legiune. Ei au colectat păr, urme și excremente. Unii experți susțin că majoritatea au fost rezultatul urșilor, maimuțelor, nu chiar ființelor umane. Nu au reușit să descopere urme ale mitului om sălbatic, dar au descoperit biodiversitate locală. În timpul cele de-a doua misiuni din 1977, mai
The stigma is disappearing, right? This is only for sexually active people. And I can understand why that would make some parents, especially parents of a young daughter, a little hesitant. They might, if they're not fully aware of the topic, if they're not educated on the topic, it might make them feel uncomfortable.
Yes, I think it's not fully disappeared. Like you said, it's disappearing. People are getting more information and getting educated about it, especially the parents of young girls having a vaccination. I talked about more than 10 years ago when I first heard about it. I also heard parents of my classmates saying, you don't need it. You're not sexually active and it's for elder ladies. You do not need to take a shot. That is totally unnecessary. And I'm not really sure, but I think in certain corners of the country there might still having, or the conversation might still happening.
Well, what was the reaction from parents on social media?
Take Beijing, for example. This year, Beijing began to offer free HPV vaccination to all 7th grade or first year medicine. And on social media, there are quite a mix of reactions shared by parents and students. So with some...
لازمینه مانجلا کې لرون کوونکو او پلوازت پولیسو ترمنځ نښته هم شوې. لرون کوونکو پر پولیسو د ډبرو ګوزارونه کړي او پر سړکونو یې د موټرو ټایرونو ته اور ورته کړی او ټاکل شوې نن د اسیا کرکټ شل اوریزه سیالیو د څلورو غوره لوبغاړو پړاو کې د هند او پاکستان
万状毒脉还要给它移动，它是我们一个很难的难题。
名家养生之道的荟萃与解析，
关于中医养生的一些核心问题。首先一点，我觉得就是要顺应时势，田地自然的变化。
واقعا ایمان قوی داریم. شما به حضور خدا دعا میکردم و باور داشتم که خدا دعای مرا قبول میکنه.
公众不会面临进一步危险。以上是这一时段的主客。
各位好，我是远林。